I would like to present our socioanalysis training that was developed by 4 education slash social scientists, and then Kinga Szokács joined the group as a trainer. We are György, Mészáros, myself.
I no longer hear the presentation. I think it stalled for a moment.
I think the voice is gone.
Yeah, the voice is gone. Katia, can you restart it, please? I just heard the first few seconds.
As kind of a colleagues, I would like to present our socioanalysis training that was developed by 4 education slash social scientists, and then Kinga Szokács joined the group as a trainer. We are György, Mészáros, myself, Melinda, Kovai, Cecília, Kovai, and Esther Neumann, and Kinga Szokács. This training would like to focus on the themes of social hierarchy, inequalities, and as kind of a highlighted topic, the Roma-Hungarian nation. We developed this this training method while we were working on our academic work, which focuses on social inequalities and education inequalities. We use it generally in non-formal education settings or at institutions in formal education, but with non-formal methodology, of course. We used it with university colleges of excellence, NGOs, and different sites. Our main target group has been young professionals and university students in the field of social work, education, psychology, and social science. These are the people who are the so-called street-level bureaucrats who are kind of in the middle between the policies and the street, the policies and the target groups of social and education policies. We thought that the traditional sensitivity trainings has their flaws, and we wanted to develop a training which tried to help participants focus on their own social position. And we believe that this reflection on their own social position can support their understanding of the behavior of the groups that they are dealing with, and it can develop the feeling and the feeling and the engagement for social change, and the feeling of solidarity too. In this presentation, we would like to present the theoretical background, the conceptual background of the methodology, the main methods, and kind of a small research study which accompanied our own development of the development of the training. And we would like to present some vignettes, some illustrations from our experiences. So why socioanalysis? You can see here the main features of the traditional intercultural sensitivity training and communication skills trainings. It is based on social psychology. Generally, its focus is identity and the identity development, minority and majority identity. It's kind of in the realm of identity politics. It's tackling social inclusion by challenging the stereotypical thinking. So it centers its attention on the individual and on the individual's own assumptions and it would like to change the individual stereotypes while with knowledge awareness, the awareness raising, and its focuses on the cultural differences and the cultural diversity is its main focus, generally speaking, of course. We acknowledge the huge tradition of these sensitivity trainings and the huge tradition of this intercultural concept, but we were not satisfied with this approach, and we thought that the structural problems are kind of left behind. And so we wanted to develop another kind of training which targets the individual, but always embedded in the social. So our conviction is that tensions arising from structural causes and class conflicts are at stake here. And even racism, especially in the Hungarian society, racism is kind of a form of legitimating structural conflicts. So the core theoretical foundation of our methodology is Bourdieu's theory of capital and symbolic violence and habitus. So we would like to highlight the issue of the social structures, the stratification of society, the issue of social class, and our own position in that, and how our own position influences how we judge how we have certain values, how we judge certain behaviors, how we ourselves behave, what we feel. So habitus is something internal, very individual, but in reality, it's very much connected to the social. And if we recognize the various aspects of this habitus, the taste, lifestyle, behavioral norms, we can, and the participants can understand more the social position and how this social position might be in tension with others, despite the fact that these other groups have some common interests than our group. So a middle class teacher has a lot of common interests with an underclass person in the society if we see the whole social structure and hierarchy, while they are in a continuous conflict, cultural conflict, seemingly cultural conflict with each other because of their social position and habitus. So we would like to highlight these issues, and we don't want to judge people for their own stereotypes. So that the training is kind of a free place where everyone can express their own stereotypes, because we think that the focus on changing you as the stereotypical person is problematic, because you censor yourself during the process, and the social tensions which are behind the conflict cannot really be revealed. So we have another approach, which is not kind of judging and stopping the stereotypical thinking and stereotypical way of behavior, but to reflect on the social structures. Of course, it leads to questioning our own behavior and our own assumptions, but in a different way. Okay, so this is kind of a summary of what I have said. So the main topics and the aims. So society is hierarchically organized, and we try to make understand the social hierarchy of Hungarian society not with lectures but with practice, with drama techniques. And we would like to highlight how political actors and even the system itself kind of generate conflicts with the aim of preventing the formation of anti-systemic alliances. So this is our main aim, to have anti-systemic alliances. And the participants should understand how these positive and negative emotions, feeling of solidarity and disconnectedness towards the other group relate to their own social position. So not to their guilty stereotypes and prejudices, but to their own social position, which is not too far from the social position of the others. And in this way, they might be able to recognize some possible alliances with those groups. And these are anti-systemic alliances. So it's clearly an anti-systemic approach that we have. So we have developed the training, and we accompanied the training with continuous reflection. We had always feedback from the participants, and we analyzed the feedbacks, and we always analyzed together the trainings and the experiences. And then we, of course, redesigned the training according to these experiences. So it was kind of an action research process. It was not a properly designed action research, but it was kind of reflective practice, and we took the training as case study, or the different occasions and different events and activities as case studies on their own. And we would like to highlight some vignettes from illustrations from our experiences. So typical and memorable social drama themes were the following. So for example, how social workers identify the sympathetic or antipathetic client, why they are antipathetic to me. And that's very important reflection for their own social professional, their own professional identity. So identity is not really the focus of our attention, because it's a very problematic concept in our opinion. But of course, there is a certain professional identity of the participants, and this is part of how they reflect on their own social position. The school desegregation and violent encounters within the school, especially between Roma and non-Roma students or pupils. Masculine aggression, Roma masculinity as part of the reflection. The segregated and the all-white church school in the village, so the typical conflict in the Hungarian countryside. Sometimes communicating with Roma parents, tackling conflicts between parents. This is kind of the theme which emerged. The social network of the Roma child, and especially among teaching graduates, this was a common topic. And social inequalities and professional careers in the psychology professional field, with a huge system of hierarchy, internal hierarchy in the profession too. So the therapist and the school psychologist are two castes in the psychology profession, and how it is an investment to become a therapist that is very difficult for a non high or middle class student. So we work with the social drama technique. So we would like the participants to act, to experience in a certain way. And so a relevant story, and through this relevant story, I would like to highlight the main methodological issues of our training. It's the story of a case study of university students, mainly in teacher education from rural areas in a small town in Hungary. And they experienced conflicts with members of the local Roma community. And while it was clear that they had a lot of similar problems with those families. And their first framework of interpretation was more like regulation for the Roma people. So we should regulate them. That's a quite common interpretation. And then in the first day of the training, we kind of represented through a drama activity, through different roles, the whole Hungarian society, from the richest people to the most poor people, and with different roles, and the participants were in those roles, and then they started to reflect on their own position in that kind of hierarchy. And it was a huge process, hours of drama role playing with different techniques. Then we highlighted how taste is through games, how taste is and social positions are connected to each other. And then the next day, we asked for stories from their own experiences. And then we took those stories and we put them in social drama activities. We created a scene, and then they try to take different roles in that scene. So we have seen that aggressive behavior, conflicts were in that story, and the students take the roles of the Roma kids, and they started feeling how they could control the situation with aggression. And sometimes they express frustration because we use the inner voice technique. And they started to think about pedagogical solutions. But then they started to understand the broader picture, the parents, the local education. And we went deeper and deeper in this story. And finally, they understand that behind the micro happenings that they experienced as a pupil when they were kids, actually is embedded, all these things are embedded in a widening circles of the system. And they had the perspective of more equal education system, and their framework is definitely changed without reflecting on stereotypes. And the last scene of the drama was when we put a seed in front of them saying, please leave messages to the politicians and to the social structures and to the rich people, which are at the highest part of the society and the highest point of the hierarchy of the society, and they actually express really relevant messages to them. So just a brief conclusion about our approach and methodology. It was kind of an action learning. The methodology is kind of an action learning through dramatic enactment, understanding the structural causes of social conflicts, and reflection of the social inequalities in our own social position. Breaking the taboo of someone's own social position, we can talk about that. We create a group feeling and a safe space where we can talk about that. And this kind of reflection helps understanding the solidarity, the possible solidarity, and the possible transformation of society. And it's towards the concept of inclusive university, because inclusion here is understood as in a broader framework of structural inequalities and material conditions. And it enhances this cross-class solidarity and the professional identities of the future professionals or the actual professionals, teachers, social workers, might be developed through these socioanalysis, and this is this might be part of their own socialization at the university if they are university students. So it's kind of in a inclusion understood in this broader framework is very much present in our methodology and in our reflection. This was just a brief summary, and thank you for your attention. And my colleagues are here during the session, so you can ask for clarification, or you can ask questions for them, or they can even deepen some of the topics that I have just mentioned. Thank you.